Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Fandom Empire Live, broadcasting you from just outside Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I am your host, Sean. Thank you for taking the next hour or so of your time to sit down and talk Halloween with myself and Tommy B. And Johnny couldn't be here for this one, but he has submitted his list. It's going to be a fun episode. Let's get to how this episode's going to work, then we'll bring Tommy B. in. So the way this episode's going to work is myself, Tommy, Johnny, and our chat mods, Toronto Freddy and Frank Riker, have compiled our list of the top 10. Count them. 10. 10. Somewhere. 10. I think I still have 10 fingers. 10 Halloween movies. And the way this works is if we had a movie at number 1 on our list, it received 10 points. If we had a movie at number 10 on our list, it received 1 point. So you compile the 5 lists together, and then you get your top 10 Halloween movie list from Fandom Empire. There was 6 originally, but I didn't see Mask Maker Mike's top 10 until it was too late. Without further ado, though, before we get to our top 10, towards the end of the show, we also have some details, and I'd say more details as to what this Halloween Kill sneak peek isn't, rather than what it is. But before we get to all that good shit, joining me from just outside Baltimore, Maryland, he's the main, I guess the number 2 here, my main man, the dude with the sexy ass microphone, gripping it real tight. Tommy B, what's happening, man?
Hey. I'm hanging in there. It's been a bit of a long day. I feel a little like garbage, but I think that's the same for a lot of us today. So just keep on going, buddy. How about you?
So there was a point where this show might not have happened tonight. We should have been on an hour ago, and just out of nowhere, it's like, oh, migraine and toothache at the same time. Not good. You take some pharmaceutical drugs, and then you take some non-pharmaceutical drugs that are legal up here in Canada, and the combination of the two, and back up on your feet and ready to go. All right. So this is how this is going to work. We have everything pretty streamlined here for tonight's show, which is why it took a little longer to get launched here. And the way this is going to work is we're going to start from number 10. Not only will you find out what the 10th movie is on the list, you'll find out how many points they scored. Again, if we had a movie at number 1 on our list, it gets 10 points. So the most a movie could get is 50. If you had a movie at number 10 on your list, it gets 1 point. So technically, the least a movie could get is 0 because there's 11 Halloween movies. And I can tell you right now, one of those movies was almost 0. If you want to chime in at any time during the show, guys, send in a super chat. All super chats go right back into the channel. Tommy and I are going to be having a lot of back and forth during this episode and doing our best to bring you the highest quality of a countdown that we can while doing a live stream. Obviously, countdowns are typically better received if it's a pre-produced video. This, in fact, as you now know, is not a pre-produced video. So, dude, when compiling your list of top 10 movies, now let's be honest here, Tommy has only seen 10 Halloween movies. So by process of automatic elimination, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is not on Thomas's list. But still, organizing your top 10 movies, man, how hard was that for you? Being you've just seen all of them recently.
When we decided to do this, I was kind of blindsided by it, and I've been planning for weeks now that when I get done seeing all the films, I was going to articulate each film and make the top 10 ranking for it or what have you, yada, yada, yada. And then we decide we're going to do this, so I said, well, oh shit, I guess I need to go and do my ranking real quick, don't I? So I did it within 10 minutes. It wasn't that bad. Honestly, all the films basically ranked exactly where I expected them to. There's even one that I was saying yesterday in a Halloween fan group. I expect it to rank roughly in the middle, and it did. I'm very satisfied with this list. I'm gonna do something more with it later on when I'm done. Uh, that could be revisited at another point.
No, for sure. And I think you'll see better pre-produced material when it comes to countdown stuff. And we have so much Halloween stuff coming up. Alberto says we all know you're going to rank Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 at number 1.
Hell nah, I don't think so.
Says the guy who hasn't even seen the movie yet.
Dude, right before this show, before we were getting ready to go live, I got done talking with my buddy Will, who I've known since kindergarten. I've known he's hardcore Halloween fan. He tried to spend literally like 10 minutes telling me to not waste my time seeing Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I've maybe seen one person in a forum talk good about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I'm pretty sure he got torn apart for it.
The way I would describe Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is this. I think it's the worst Halloween movie ever made. I think the first 15 minutes is the ultimate tease because they're amazing. But yet the movie is so bad, I actually prefer to go back and watch it over Rob Zombie's first movie because it's so bad I find myself entertained by it. Someone said, who was it? Where are they? I can't find whose name it is right now. Let's you know. Oh, there we go. Frank says, not Frank Riker either. Nice Pink Floyd top. Yep. Gotta love the Floyd. All right. Again, if you guys want to chime in at any time during this, send in a super chat. We'll interrupt the discussion right where we are, and we will read your super chat message and or statement or question, or, you know, if you want to send in a super chat just to make fun of Tommy's glasses, you can do that too. Hell, I might send in a super chat to ourselves just to bash his glasses. So I'm not going to ease up on that either. I miss your old glasses, dude. I had a real longing for seeing them every time we were on cam together.
You long to see it on my face.
You said it. So if you guys want to give your top 10 along with us as we're going, you can do that. We will get to the normal chat questions by the end of this thing. And yeah, so without further ado, here we go. Coming in at number 10 on our list of Halloween movies, again, compiled by 5 of us, this movie scored a 7 possible points. 7 out of 50. That's pretty bad. So actually, I guess I should tell you before we get to number 10, the movie that's not in our top 10 list is, in fact, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which scored a possible 2 points. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 scored 2 out of 50, making it ineligible for our top 10 conversation. But coming in at number 10, scoring 7 points out of a possible 50, is Rob Zombie's Halloween. This movie came out in 2007, I believe. And it was released August 31st, 2007, directed by Rob Zombie. And it made, this is why you got a part 2 to this movie, it made $80 million at the box office. At that time, it was the highest grossing Halloween movie at the box office. So Halloween was back in a big way, whether some people liked the vision or not. At the end of the day, the reception that Rob Zombie's first movie got by the general going public was fairly positive. You're back with an $80 million movie. I don't know if that's domestically or worldwide. I'd have to check. Either way, it's a big return for Halloween at that point. And, you know, that builds anticipation for another film. Tommy, you recently seen Rob Zombie's Halloween. You saw the theatrical cut. To my knowledge, there is the theatrical cut. There is the director's cut. And there is, in fact, a blueprint that came out about a month before the movie was released in theaters. It leaked online. That's how I seen it for the first time. Your thoughts on Rob Zombie's Halloween?
What a piece of dog shit. No, I'm gonna be totally for real here with you. And folks who follow us on Fandom Empire Den on Facebook, hang out in that group, you have already seen my thoughts. The film had a few redeeming qualities. It was number 10 on my list. Now, here's the thing. I found that there was an alternate ending to the film where
Couple of them.
basically Michael's let's go of Lori, and she goes with Loomis, and they walk away. Well, then Michael starts walking towards them, and all the cops are surrounding him, spray him down, and he dies, essentially. I think that should have been the real ending, rather than Lori just standing there and after getting chased off the balcony and shooting him in the face and screaming. I thought that ending sucked. I feel like that should have been the ending. And number 2, it shouldn't have been Halloween. It shouldn't have been about Michael Myers. Shouldn't have been about Laurie Strode. Shouldn't have been Loomis. Should have been something totally different. Then I think I would have liked this film a little.
Well, the problem with
that
that
Halloween
is
film, this film very much earns its place all the way at the bottom of my list. What a piece of dog shit. Also, what the fuck did they do to his mask? Why are his fucking eye holes so fucking big? Like, holy fucking shit. I can see your cornea in that. I can see inside. Ugh.
Yeah, I've seen fan-made versions of the Rob Zombie mask that look almost identical to it, but the eye holes are blackened out to make it, traditional Michael Myers, where you can't see through the eye holes. And it just looks fucking awesome the way it's supposed to. And I guess it was a creative decision that, like most of Rob Zombie's decisions, as you said, end up being dog shit.
He took a lot of freaking creative decisions, a lot of liberties. Let me tell you, I'll tell you something. I don't want to see Michael Myers humanized. That's my opinion. I know some folks really feel differently about that. We see that in the let them burn sort of debate. I don't want to see him freaking humanized. And I feel like that's exactly what Rob Zombie did. And I don't like it. Not a little, not even a little.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, dude, and wrong thing here. I'm not disagreeing with you, dude, and where you're coming from at all. I'm just saying, if I take off my Halloween fanboy hat, I got to look at this movie and say, in terms of the results it produced, it was good. It produced positive results, which is why they made a sequel. Do I like the direction they took? Nope. And by the way, what the fuck is with Malcolm McDowell in the flashbacks, okay? Like, oh, hey, let's add some really, really fake hair to Malcolm McDowell, and now you're supposed to believe Loomis is younger. Like, really? You were that unoriginal in your attempt to make McDowell look younger that you just added some fake, very, very flat and straight hair to the character? Or the actor, pardon me. Here's an idea. If you're going back that long, either make it look a hell of a lot better with normal visual effects, special effects, or cast a different fucking actor. But again, as much as I don't like this movie, and it's honestly probably the Halloween movie I watched the least, positive results, man. At the end of the day, if you're one of the studio heads and you see all that money come in and you make a really good profit off of it, you probably aren't caring what the average diehard fan is saying.
Before we get away from this film, there's just one thing I, as someone who just saw it for the first time, want to visit briefly. Maybe it's in the deleted scenes, maybe it's in a different cut, but there's that scene where Loomis and I think it was the sheriff, they're in the cemetery and they see that Judith's gravestone was robbed. Was that totally cut from the film? Like the scene where they should have actually shown the tombstone on the bed, or whatever Rob Zombie's creative decision would have been. Did we never see that tombstone?
I'm not sure. I think you're asking the wrong.
Anyone in the chat, if you have an answer to this, please send it on out to me. I'm curious.
The problem is,
Yeah.
I have a hard time figuring out which cut of the film is which because I don't watch it very often. I know the blueprint ending is different. A lot of what happens in the middle of the film, the guts of the film is different. And then you have the director's cut. And I know one of the cuts has like these, I don't know, maintenance workers or guard workers at Smith's
I know
Grove.
where you're going with this. With that,
rape the girl.
rape scene.
Yeah. And then one of the cuts doesn't have it. And classic Rob Zombie, got to have a girl getting raped up against the wall.
The version of the film I saw was DVR'd. It was on BBC. Essentially, they cut out a lot of the swear words. My understanding is that is the director's cut, what you were just talking about.
I'm not sure.
I did not see that.
Eventually, we're going to watch this movie to watch along, and it'll probably be the next time I watch this movie. It'll be the first time I've seen this movie in years. So, it is what it is. At the end of the day, though, I got to take off my hat of hate here towards this movie and say, hey, in terms of what it did for, at that time, at least bringing some attention back to the Halloween franchise after Halloween Resurrection, it was positive. It made positive results in the box office. Doesn't make it a good movie by any means. I got to give the devil its due, though. There is I think it's the director's cut of the film that was on DVD, comes with a making of. It by far is the best, most detailed making of you have ever gotten of a Halloween movie, period. That includes the original. That includes Halloween H2O. It definitely includes Halloween 18, which they shit the bed on the extras with that one. But the making of the Rob Zombie and company put together this movie, whether you like their decisions or not, if you haven't seen it and you love the behind-the-scenes process that goes on with motion picture films, it's a must. It's a must. I own it somewhere in this house, but I got to give the devil its due. It was good. All right, guys. Let's get to number 9. But before we do, we have a couple of super chats. Pardon me. Sean/Tommy. Is this a Halloween rank of favorites or best? Depends on the person. I don't think favorites and best are the same thing. I think they're two different things. And when I asked for the list, I asked for what do you think the top 10 best Halloween movies are? And by the looks of it, in terms of the way the lists came in, it is a ranking of what we feel the top 10 best Halloween movies are, not favorite. Because if it was favorite, to be honest, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is probably up slightly higher on my list just because it's so bad it's fun to watch. But no.
I did this from basically looking at the perspective that for the sake of this franchise, best and favorite are the same thing.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes.
Alrighty, Intel Wild.
Wow, that kind of makes me sound like a fucking narcissist, doesn't it? Holy shit.
Intel, I guess you should just go fuck yourself. Intel Wild says it's a $20 super chat for poor Rob Zombie. He deserves it, but gets dumped on a lot. Yeah, man, he, for the lack of a better term, and this is a bad term, he basically tied his own noose. But that said, so did so did the studio. So did Trancas and Company and Dimension. And actually, I don't even know if Dimension was involved in these ones. I don't think, maybe they were. Specifically Trancas, though, and the Acads, who let Rob Zombie come in there and do his thing. Rob Zombie didn't even want to come back for Halloween 2. You know, he was done after the first one. And they pushed for him to come back, and he basically wanted full creative control, and we've seen what happened. Ooh, look at the horses and my wife. Fuck's sakes, Rob. She doesn't need to be in everything. We don't need to see a fucking unicorn every 5 minutes in a Halloween movie. And by the way, before we get to number 9, not having the Halloween theme in a Halloween movie is easily like the dumbest decision any Halloween creator has ever made. Alberto says it's safe to say how Rob Zombie won't be appearing at any Halloween conventions anytime soon. You're probably not wrong. Frank Riker, Rob Zombie was a hot thing for movies in the 2000 decade. Yep, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But coming in at number 9 for us, scoring an impressive, and by impressive we mean not impressive at all, 12 out of a possible 50 points is Halloween 8, a.k.a. Halloween Resurrection. So Tommy got to see this movie for the first time about a week ago or so, and he had just seen Halloween H2O, and he'd been sort of asking me, how's there going to be a Halloween 8? And I was like, I basically told him, hey, dude, if you liked H2O, you're probably going to hate Resurrection because it's a retcon machine, basically. And then he was going on about, well, I better come down to Michael and Laurie at the end. And I couldn't help but like chuckle under my breath thinking, oh no, dude, you have no idea what the first 10 minutes of this movie is. Needless to say, that didn't happen. So Tommy, again, your thoughts on the retconning and maybe this movie in general and killing Laurie off in the first 10 minutes. Did you even see that coming?
No. And it was extremely disappointing. And I think by the time I got to the 20-minute mark, maybe half-hour mark, I forget where I was, I had paused the movie and I went and I screwed off, did some other stuff because I got bored. I came back to it and I finished the film. It gets better. It gets better as a generic slasher film. It's not a great Halloween film, in my opinion. I thought it was still a good film, once you get a few more things flowing. A lot of people hate on the Busta Rhymes stuff. I did not think that was the worst part about this film. That's just my opinion. I see you shaking your head at me like, look at this fucker. I thought there were worse things about this film. How about you?
Well, in the words of, I guess you could call him a fellow YouTube colleague, Mr. Dave McRae, trick or treat, motherfucker, or maybe that's just in the words of Freddy. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Michael Myers, the Shape, the Boogeyman, gets his ass kicked by Kung Fu Freddy Rhymes? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God. And the Laurie shit, I mean, they knew this shit was going down as Halloween H2O was filming. And they had her on set for a day, basically, to get her stuff done. And it just, like, maybe if Halloween H2O is the end of that timeline, H2O holds up a little better for me. But because it's not, it makes H2O kind of seem pointless. And, oh, dude. Complete.
I mean, when I looked at H2O and I looked at Resurrection, I looked at them separately. It's hard. You can't divorce Resurrection from H2O entirely because it's the follow-up. But I don't judge H2O based on Resurrection, if that makes sense. So,
I
yeah,
I have a hard time separating the two.
If H2O was the end of that timeline, the timeline would literally be H1, H2, and then H2O. So
I mean, it's just it's garbage. I mean, it's flat out garbage. Frank Riker brings up the mask. Like, why the fuck does Michael Myers have eyeliner on? I'm sorry, did he sit there and go, you know what? I've ended my shift as a Walmart day greeter, and now I'm going to go buy some eyeliner to wear before I go haunt my sister who's escaped me for 3 years. Fuck off. This movie is shit. End of story, shit. However, if I take off my hater hat, I can sit here and say, much like I told you, is somewhere in the back half of this movie, it becomes a decent slasher with some inventions that I would say are a little ahead of its time. And I liked the streaming element of it. I did. I don't think they executed it properly. I hate that it's in a Halloween movie. But I see some quality things with that. I do. Again, I mean, inside the Myers house, I didn't really like. I don't know, man. It just... Have you ever just gone out to eat and, like, been terribly disappointed by the dish that you got? And you just sit there and you say, man, this tastes like ass, and you want to send it back. It's basically how I feel about Halloween Resurrection. It scored a possible...
I tend to be pretty picky of where I spend my money for food. So that doesn't happen to me all that often, I am happy to say.
The end of the movie, though, where his eyes open, I thought that I dug that. That was pretty cool.
I didn't like the mask. That was just my opinion. I did not like. I know it's kind of realistic, melted plasticky and all that, but I didn't dig it. It was just my own opinion, though.
At the end of the day, I just I don't dig this movie. I give it points for trying, but it's too far ahead of itself. Intel Wild, another super chat, says Rob should have been given the keys to Texas Chainsaw franchise way before Halloween. Agreed. That would have been far more in his line of things. I seen someone say that Toronto Freddy said to Intel, House of a Thousand Corpses is basically a ripoff of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I can see where that comes from. I quite like the newer Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. I do. I'm not the biggest fan of the original. Don't shoot. Just an opinion here. Film is subjective. But no, Rob Zombie would have been much better fit for that Intel than there. Intel Wild sends another super chat. The more I think of it, in H2O, when the van goes over the cliff at the end, it tumbles and tumbles, but yet Laurie and the ambulance guy live. The ambulance guy flies through a windshield after getting his windpipe crushed, gets ran into head first, head on, gets hit with a van, rolls all the way down, and is crushed by the van, and somehow still has it in him to go, are you kidding me?
He's not the ambulance guy.
But he is. He is.
H2O, he's not the ambulance guy yet. That's Michael.
But you can't say that because they decided to connect the movies. So in Resurrection...
I want to pretend that connection didn't fucking happen.
Let me tell you, that guy must eat his fucking Wheaties. Somebody get me that guy's formula, and I won't be suffering from some of the medical issues that I'm suffering from. Holy fuck. There's not enough Wheaties and Raisin Bran in the world to make that guy fucking live through that. Could make him shit a lot, but he's not going to live through all that. Frank Riker says Michael's eyes opened at the end of Resurrection because the nurse grabbed his junk. Oh, man. Michael's sporting a stiffy, and we're not talking about, just himself. No doubt whatsoever there. So anyways, Halloween Resurrection is number 9 on our list, which brings us to number 8 on our list. And I gotta be honest here, I'm surprised this movie scored as many points as it did. Number 8 on our list is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, scored 21 of 50 points. I was stunned. I didn't think this thing would clear 15. 8, I could see it being in the 8 position, just because of Resurrection and just because of Rob Zombie's movies. But I was surprised it scored 21 points between 5 guys. That's an average of over 4 points per person. And I believe one guy, this is why film is subjective, had Halloween 5 third on his list. Third.
What?
I shook my head. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving away people's personal lists. I'm not going to throw someone under the bus. But it was either third or fourth, and I just thought to myself,
okay,
wow.
I'll get it from him later.
Wow, you are too fucking kind.
I'm coming for you.
This movie...
For real though. This was number 9 on my list. And number 8 was Resurrection, I think. I'm pretty sure that's where. So, yeah, with the way you just said this, I am also totally freaking surprised that this got as many points as it did. Wow.
Look, at the end of the day, I can't believe someone had it this high. Like, this movie is like, I know people are like, and I'm sorry, you're a Halloween fan? Why are you saying it all sucks? Well, I'm sorry, half the franchise is dog shit. I watched them because the other half of the franchise pulled me in. Just utterly stunned. Stunned that someone had this in their top 3 or 4. Like, complete loss of words. The fact that this thing scored 21 of a possible 50 points, that's almost 50%. That's too kind to this movie. Intel Wild sends in another super chat. Love how they used the OG mask on the cover of H5. They did it for H4 as well, man, which is just... I love H4. I prefer the art that we see for H4 with the actual H4 mask, and I think Halloween 5 should have done the same. It's false advertising. I mean, you think the 4 mask is back and then or bad, then you see the mask in H5 and you go, oh, Bring me back to 4. Fuck.
I mean, we're not really hating on this movie in the right ways if we don't say one of the worst things about it. The direction it went was absolute garbage. Let me tell you, I'm someone who got pretty freaking excited, and we'll get into this in a few minutes, with the direction they went with Jamie. And to just see that totally snubbed, totally thrown out in this film, kind of broke my heart, bud. Yeah, I mean, after I saw 4, I was hype, I was excited. I can't remember if I went right into 5 after it or not.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm done. It was a huge fucking letdown. I was heartbroken. You know what I'm saying?
I do. Intel says false advertising. For me, it's false advertising when you put the OG Michael mask on the poster and on the VHS case and then the DVD case of the OG Michael mask when it's nowhere to be found in the movie. They did the same thing in H4. If you go, like Tommy and I come from Star Wars fandom, that's probably our first true love. And they did the same thing with the Revenge of the Sith teaser poster. It's of Anakin Skywalker, and he's in a suit that you never once see him in the movie, sporting a red lightsaber, which he never once sports in the movie, other than the one he uses to kill Dooku. Thank you, babe.
Let me tell you something about that real quick, because I think about that from time to time, because I saw Revenge of the Sith on opening night. They actually marketed Anakin with a red lightsaber, action figures and all. They were actually selling red lightsabers for Anakin Skywalker, as if I recall correctly, as toys in stores. So they really milked the hell out of, the hopes of the fans just to leave them hanging.
Intel Wild sends in another super chat. People call H5 mask Nic Cage Mask because it looks like Nicolas Cage. And it kind of does. I've never put that comparison together. Never actually heard that said. And now I just like the slicked back hair and the long neck piece, but specifically the eye holes. Oh my God, it is officially the Nic Cage mask. I am never going to be able to get that out of my head. The worst part is Nicolas Cage is like one of my mom's favorite actors growing up. And so like he was on the TV a lot in our house. And now it's just like, oh, God, someone needs to get a hold of Nic Cage because everybody knows he doesn't say no to a project anymore. And we need to see a Halloween 5 spoof movie where he just wakes up and he's just like, bleh. And we see him going around as Michael Myers. That'd be great. Kieran, what's happening, buddy? The H4 ending is amazing. Loomis overacting is the best part of it. You mean this? So I was a bit of a sick kid, and there was a group of us that watched this movie for the first time. My cousin introduced us to Halloween 1, Halloween 2, and Halloween 4 on the same night. And so we've seen all 3 of those movies on the same night for the first time ever, a group of 5 or 6 of us. And I remember when Loomis points the gun up at Jamie, I remember yelling like, yes, shoot her, end it now. And like the looks I got were like, dude, she's a kid. But Loomis, I mean, I love Halloween 4. It's so fucking good. Where are we at? Sorry, not Intel. While Frank Riker in with a super chat, H5 was one of those movies where everyone just said, H5 was one of those movies where everyone just said that will do or seen. Trying to word this here, Frankie. H5 was one of those movies where everyone just said that will do or scenes were done in one take. This was the Ed Wood of this series. Oh my God. Anybody remember seeing, I think, was it Johnny Depp that played Ed Wood in a movie? The stories of Ed Wood are classic. We need to cover we need to have an Ed Wood day on this channel because, my God. All right, that's a wrap. Let's go. Moving on. Fucking Ed Wood. What a reference, Frank. Halloween 5 should have had Jamie Lloyd be evil. Yeah, Joker, I'm with you there. Intel says Halloween 4 ending was very surprised. I agree. Let's keep it up, though. Let's go to number 7 here. And number 7 on our list for this evening, I had it higher on my list. Tommy, did you have this next movie higher on your list? The next movie is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, which scored 21 points. For me...
Yes, I had this as my number 6, originally as my number 5, but I made a not last minute. Right after I made my list, I changed it to number 6. It was really close. I honestly think this is a fan-freaking-tastic film. I really enjoy it. I will likely buy it eventually. I know they didn't originally wish to make Halloween all Michael Myers, but
this was the beginning and the ending of the Halloween anthology series. Oof. When I see
great movie, I enjoyed it.
The first time I seen this movie, I didn't enjoy it because we just watched Halloween 1, 2, and 4, and then the following night, my cousin and I watched 3, and it was like wah wah wah, or better yet, why am I doing my own sound effects when we have? But as I got older, I found a appreciation for Halloween 3. First of all, the soundtrack in this movie is fantastic. The giveaway theme.
How many more days we got till Halloween? Come on, we gotta do the song.
Do 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 do.
10 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Silver Shamrock.
Look, Cochran in the movie is fucking brilliant. Absolutely love Colonel Cochran. He's so, there's something creepy, and it's like, hey, there's that old senior citizen guy that gives me the creeps that always, stares at your sister as she's serving her his food. I get stories like that all the time. The older I got, the more appreciation I had for the movie, because you start to realize the scale that the movie's actually on, and it's a much larger scale than how it's presented. And I really think when you take all the Halloween projects and you look at what comes next after Halloween ends, I'd love to see a remake or a retell of Halloween 3 Season of the Witch on a Netflix or a Hulu or whatever. Give us a 2 or 3 season, 10 episodes, 45-minute episodes, hour-long episodes. I think Halloween 3 is disgustingly underrated. And Chalice, baby! Who doesn't love Chalice? What a scumbag. The end of the stop it. Dude, I dig this movie, and the soundtrack for this movie I dig. I have the not down here on hand, but I have the steel case for it, which shows the 3 kids in the costumes sitting in front of the TV. But on the steel case for it, it actually has Michael's mask laying on the floor. So it's in reach of the kids. It's on the packaging, but the only time we see it in the movie is they're advertising Halloween on TV. So
yeah, I was gonna say they had Halloween on the TV. It was kind of like a cameo of sorts. So it's there. Definitely, it's there. I enjoyed it.
Intel Wild sends in a couple of super chats. First one is the Myers house in H5. My God, what were they thinking? Like, how the hell was that supposed to be the Myers house? Not buying it at all. But I did love the suspense of Jamie in the little laundry chute. I thought that was cool. Anybody notice they also have the Mark of Thorn symbol on the wall of the Myers house in that movie? Look closely, it is. And then Intel Wild, I like 3 on its own, just not with the Halloween in the title. I agree with you. Obviously Halloween was a marketing choice. Just calling it Season of the Witch would have been fine. I think it's got potential, and I hope to go back to the story personally. Chick was hot as hell, though. You mean Robot Chick? Was she a robot the entire time, or was she just a robot at the end? Who knows? Frank says, anything with Tom Atkins is a winner. I love Tom Atkins, man. Heavily underrated. Could dig some Tom Atkins basically anytime. So you said you had this movie in your top 5, or it was number 6 on your list?
It was originally 5, but I switched it to 6. It was very, very close.
I think it was 5 on my list, so tells you what I think of the movie. Coming in at number 6, and it's no particular version of this movie, so we didn't ask for one or the other. It's just Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, coming in at number 6. Now, if you watched part 1 of our Halloween 6 revisited video, you know what kind of mess this movie was to get made. Out of all the Halloween movies that had issues getting made, this one probably, takes the cake. This movie was a complete fucking disaster to get made. It went through numerous directors and producers and cameramen and principal photographers and writers, and it just, at one point, it was going to be an on-the-road movie with Quentin Tarantino. At another point, before they really got into production, John Carpenter wanted to send Michael Myers out into space. That didn't happen. I believe John had New Line Cinema behind his proposal. It ended up being the Weinsteins that won out. Halloween 6, though, at least for me, the producer's cut, dude. I know people are going to, sort of send me to the wolves here or leave me to the wolves. I like the producer's cut of this movie. I'm not saying it's a great movie. I think it's a solid Halloween movie. I like the producer's cut music better. I like the prologue sequence better, or the voiceover sequence at the beginning better. I dig this movie more than I dig them coming back down the hallway and just seeing the mask lying there beside some needles. Loomis is in the producer's cut more than he is the theatrical cut. I dug this movie, dude. I was for it. To me, it felt more like Halloween did, or more like Halloween than Halloween 5 did. What are your thoughts on this movie? It scored, by the way, 26 out of a possible 50 points, putting it just ahead of 50% for us on this night.
This was my number 7. I've only seen the producer's cut, so I could only speak to that. I've heard about the other cut, and I feel like it really lets out a lot of what makes this film good. Yeah, I mean, that's about all I really have to say. We're starting to get into the point where we're in films now that I didn't have major problems with. The producer's cut wasn't perfect, being the better cut of, for this film. But I also enjoyed my my viewing of the film itself. So, yeah, I got no complaints. How about you?
I dig this movie. Like I said, there's a lot about this movie I like. I do admit that Paul Rudd comes across really weird in this movie, but I think that's the way he was directed. I'm okay with this movie. I really am. Again, I prefer the producer's cut. Intel Wild sends in a super chat. The operating room scene in H6 is killer. This Myers would make me run like crazy. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the operating room scene only is shown in the theatrical cut. I could be wrong on that. Frank or Intel or Toronto Freddy, someone in the chat.
What happens in the operating
it's
room?
like, have you ever seen Spider-Man 2 where Doc Ock just goes nuts with his mechanical arms and is killing all the nurses' aides and doctors and stuff? It's a scene like that where Myers is just killing people left and right, and they're getting tossed around and battered. It's a complete fucking massacre.
I can't quite remember if I saw that or not. There is one thing I want to speak to.
What's that?
That I didn't really like the ending.
Well, which one? What one did you see?
Producer's cut.
So where it ends up being Wynn on the floor. Dr. Wynn.
Yeah, and Loomis becomes the leader of the cult, that sort of thing. And that's where that timeline ends. The Thorn trilogy ends. I don't know how long after the actor passed, but yeah, felt really anticlimactic, but I guess that happens a lot with horror movies.
Well, to be honest, the producer's cut was pretty tied in with what they could do, simply because Donald Pleasance passed away before reshooting of this film took place, although the reshooting was basically the theatrical cut. So, take it for what you will. But, Halloween 6 is what it is. And, I mean, you get two fairly different movies out of it. We probably could have listed them as separate entries on this, although they would have been close in my opinion. Alberto says, such a shame Paul Rudd wasn't available to reprise his role as Tommy in Kills. Here's the thing with that. I can tell you, Jeff Snyder is one of the best insiders in the business, and he had Paul Rudd back as Tommy Doyle in Halloween Kills. If he had that, that's what was offered. Paul Rudd was unavailable, the story goes, due to filming on Ghostbusters. That said, I've always wondered to myself, why were they bringing back Paul Rudd if it's not, like, if Halloween 6 doesn't tie into the movie at all? I never understood that. I didn't get the line of thinking behind it. But yeah, I would have been for Paul Rudd because he was my favorite. I liked Paul Rudd's Tommy Doyle better than Brian Andrews as a kid Tommy Doyle. Oh, I know that's going to piss some people off, but I did. I dug it. We also know that Jake Gyllenhaal was a legitimate possibility for Tommy Doyle in Halloween Kills. Again, scheduling didn't allow it to be happening. We believe Anthony Michael Hall was choice number 3 in that movie. Not a bad consolation prize, and from what we understand, he does a really fucking knockout job in that movie. We're breaking into our top 5 here in a second, Tommy B. Frank Riker sends in a super chat. Myers jogged in this one in the hall chase scene. He did have a bit of a jog, which did not look right. Then again, some people are high on George Wilbur's performances, and some aren't. Number 5 for us is Halloween H2O beating out Halloween 6 by 1 point. Halloween H2O brought in 27 of a possible 50 points. That's right. 27 of a possible 50 points. Dude, I feel like you like Halloween H2O better than me, so why don't you take things off?
Okay. So number 5, if I recall correctly, I'm going to fact check myself right now because I've been leaving this open, is exactly where I had Halloween H2O. Yes, it is. I thought H2O was pretty reminiscent, just based off of the role of Laurie. I really enjoyed that. And for me, just seeing the film, it was an interesting experience. I did like what they went with the direction for the boarding school administrator sort of thing. And honestly, while certain parts of this film did lag a little bit, the only thing that I really had any big amount of issues with was the soundtrack. I thought the film itself.
The soundtrack's a fucking disaster. Like, honestly, one of the best things about Halloween movies, regardless if it's one of the great ones, one of the okay ones, or one of the bad ones, is the soundtracks and the score is usually pretty good. This movie is a shit show. A complete, utter fucking dumpski.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. This film had a lot of other good aspects that made it great. And I really liked the way it ended. I did. Before they made that an ambulance driver.
Man, those Wheaties, dude. Those Wheaties.
Let me tell you something. I was all hyped going into the next film, thinking we were going to see something cult-related or what have you for how the resurrection actually happened. The problem is the fucking resurrection never actually happened because the wrong fucking person got their fucking head cut off. So even the
Halloween
fucking title of the
Resurrection
movie is a fucking joke.
Look, I'm not sure there's been a more hyped Halloween movie than Halloween H2O. That includes Halloween 2018. I would have been 10 years old when this movie came out. I didn't see it right away. I think I seen it around the year 2000. But I remember the marketing campaign for this movie was all over the place. But when you look at what this movie could have been, when it was supposed to be Jamie Lee Curtis and Deborah Hill and John Carpenter all involved in this movie, never ended up being that. Ended up being basically a money grab for Jamie Lee. There's just so much about this movie that has me conflicted. Some watch throughs I go, you know what, that's okay. And other watch throughs I go, oh my God, this is terrible. You know, I have mixed feeling. I don't know if I'm more torn of any other Halloween movie than this one. First of all, the shit with the masks. Why the fuck did we need to see 4 different masks in one movie? And you try to pass it on as being the same mask? Halloween 6 mask shows up in this movie. The what I call the alien mask is all over this movie. The mask with the eye holes that are way too big is in this movie. And then the CGI weird face fucking shit they did where with the kid there before he dies. Clearly, you know, creative in this movie. And even if you read it in the Taken Shape book that I have to the left of me here, you know, there's some creative differences on this movie too. Halloween and creative differences seem to go together. And at the end of the day, I just, I don't know. Like I'm torn, man.
Where did it come in on your list?
Hang on. Let me pull up my phone here so I can tell you where it was on my list. Great YouTube here. Watching Sean in a quarter window look up where Halloween H2O was.
Yeah, all right.
7th. It was 7th on my list. Halloween H2O.
Ooh, you hater. Sean hates everything. Sean hates Halloween H2O.
You just have to, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I totally do.
Again, love-hate relationship with this movie. If it would have been the end of the timeline, I could have accepted it. Let me tell you something about Michelle Williams' character hitting Michael with a rock a couple of times and getting him to stumble back. Makes me... I think Michael is probably most vulnerable in this movie, where you look at him and go, yeah, you know what? I could probably take him if we got into a room alone. He just... And then somehow fake Michael, the ambulance driver who gets hit, goes through a windshield, gets his windpipe crushed, rolls down a hill, and then crushed by a van, is actually technically, when you think about it, physically stronger than actual Michael in the movie. Actual Michael in the movie gets the shit kicked out of him multiple times. Fake Michael in the movie. Look at me. I ate my fucking Wheaties this morning. Oh, God. I'm sorry, people. I'm sure there's love for Halloween H2O in the chat. I still enjoy watching it from time to time. I think it has some redeeming qualities, but Resurrection really makes this movie a lot worse. You got to separate the two, and I have a hard time doing it. All right, guys, it's time to move on to number 4, and this one's probably going to surprise some people. Number 4 on our list is 1981's sequel to the 1978 original movie Halloween 2, coming in at number 4 on our list with 36 points. 36 of a possible 50 points, which, when you consider it, it's the biggest gap we've had yet. The gap between the top 4 and the rest of them is a pretty big one. So it scores 36 of a possible 50 points. There's 2 very notable versions of this movie, the original version and then the TV cut, which has a lot more hospital scenes in it. What did you think of Halloween 2, Tommy B? I quite like Halloween 2. Can't find a whole lot of problems with it, other than, the mask on Dick doesn't look as good as the mask on Nick.
I mean, it's the original sequel. It was a pretty damn good film. I have problems finding problems with it. I mean, I won't lie. There was maybe 1 or 2 hospital scenes that to me felt a little draggy. It's dragging a little bit. But this film was still high on my list. I think it was number 3. Sounds right. I enjoyed it. I watched Halloween 2 directly after I watched Halloween 2018 for the first time, and I remained completely entertained the entire time. I enjoyed it.
Here's what shocked me with this movie. 5 of us gave our rankings to make this top 10 Halloween list. One person, which I will not name because it's not fair to them, had this movie at 8. Number 8 on their favorite Halloween list. Hey, it's not my favorite Halloween movie. It's in my top 5 for sure. But 8th? Ugh. Like that's criminal. 8. And that's why you see it at number 4. I really like this movie. My favorite part of this movie, we have to go to the score, and that is like the synth score. Halloween 2's synth score is awesome. Intel Wild says, gonna go back to work. We'll be listening. Thanks, Intel. Appreciate everything you do, bro. We probably got about 15 or 20 more minutes left in this thing. Halloween 2, I think it's a great sequel. I love the ending. I love how when Halloween 4 comes out, they actually keep some of the continuity for Halloween 2. Minus the fact that Myers can somehow still see. Halloween 2. Number 4. All right. It's podium time here, Tommy B. Podium time. Coming in at number 3 is David Gordon Green's Halloween. Some might call it Halloween Face Your Fate. Most of us refer to it as Halloween 2018 or Halloween 18. This soft reboot of sorts, this direct sequel to the original film, comes in at number 3 with a possible 39 of 50 points, edging out Halloween 2 from 1981 by 3 points. What movie did you have higher on your list? 2 or 18?
18. I do believe 18 is the better sequel. I've tried to get away from recency bias. I think I'm at the point where I can do that. And honestly, the only thing that Halloween 2 has over 18 for me is the age. And by that, I mean the look, the quality in which the film was created in because of when it was created, the 80s. 2018 to me came in at my number 2. I thoroughly enjoyed the freaking film. Just for the hell of it, right after watching 2018 for the first time, I went and watched Halloween 2 for the first time, like I just said, and I enjoyed 2018 more. I mean, we could bulk it up to,
I think it's a better movie.
Newer, so you think it's better, better effects, yada yada yada. Honestly, they used what was available to them, and I say they did a pretty damn good job with it. I was thrilled, and the only things about this movie that I'm missing are elements that could not have been included, like Loomis.
For me, I really, really like 2018. I think 2018 is better than 81. I just do. I think it flows better as a movie. I think it's weird, though, having a direct sequel 40 years later to a movie that is basically operating as the new Halloween 2. There's parts about the movie I don't like. There's not enough suspense. There's some creative decisions that were made, specifically the Sartain thing that I'll never understand. But I do think, I believe, after reading Halloween Kills, I do think this is one of those movies that will be improved by its sequel rather than have lose some of its, I don't even know the term I'm looking for here. When Halloween Kills comes out...
I got it for you. We won't H2O to resurrection it. We won't H2O it.
It's the opposite, in my opinion.
There's our verb. There's our verb right there.
It's the opposite of that. Anthony Stanfield, let's go Bruins. Anthony, I love you, buddy. I do, but fuck you. Did they win again tonight? I haven't been watching, so I watched the Vancouver game last night as much as I could, and that was cool. Halloween 2018. The ending of this movie is awesome. In my opinion, Halloween 2018 has the first or second best ending of any Halloween movie. Probably second best. I love the original of the first movie because there was never intended to be a sequel, and the boogeyman's just sort of gone, and you hear him breathing. And Halloween 2018 is probably my second favorite ending. I love the score in this movie. Carpenter and his boys kill it. It's good stuff. Good stuff. I dig 2018, and I think it's worthy of the third spot. But I know why some diehards don't like this movie or do like Halloween 2 better. All film is subjective. I don't think this is the best Halloween movie, but for me, it was one of the most satisfying Halloween movies. But not scary. I don't get where the generic fan gets off on calling this movie scary. I didn't find Halloween 2018 to be scary at all. Just me. All right, it's time for the runner-up, the penultimate on our list. Coming in at number 2. Is the original no, I'm kidding. Coming in at number 2 is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. More false advertising with a mask on a poster that is not supposed to be on. Halloween 4 scored 40 of a possible 50 points, is number 2 on our list. And for me, not only do I think this is my favorite Halloween movie, I firmly believe this is the best made from start to finish Halloween movie that there is. I can tell you that obviously if this is number 2, we know what number 1 is, and number 1 had 4 first place votes, not 5, because this was my first place vote. I love Halloween 4. It's not just my favorite. I firmly think it's the best between the score, the performances in the movie. Donald Pleasance has so much more to work with in this movie than in the original Halloween movie. I love Meeker in this movie. Rachel is great too. Even Jamie is good in this movie. The pacing, this movie just flies by. The suspense isn't as good as the original Halloween movie, but then again, I don't think it ever will be again. But I just love this movie, dude. I could watch this movie 10 times a year easily. Fucking love it.
Wow. Wow. I knew you really loved this movie, and I was starting to see the direction this was going. I was a little surprised to see that it was as our number 2. I expected you to have it as number 2, but you're telling us you had it as number 1.
I had it as my number 1. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I totally respect it.
I can tell you this. I won't tell you.
It's a great film.
I can tell you this. I had it at number 1. There was 2 third place votes for this movie and 2 fourth place votes for this movie. And it came in at number 2 overall.
I was a 4th place vote because I ranked... Well, I'm not going to go through all of them. But you know what? Once you got into that top 4, it gets to be really difficult for me personally to piece them all out, particularly as someone who's only seen them all. Well, -1 and most of 2 probably, if not all of 2.
Shout out to Spooky Guy in the chat. I noticed he's here. Kieran says, play the end soundbite again. How can we not? How can we not, dude? Kieran, I found out earlier today you and your bro went to, or at least your brother did, went to Galaxy's Edge. That's fucking awesome. We're going to have a talk about that. But here it is. Shooter! Shooter!
What the fuck? I just can't believe that they just decided to retcon that whole ending. Well, no, I guess they didn't, but they didn't go the route they should have.
Dude, I can't fucking wait till October when we do our Halloween 4 watch along. I'm going to be sitting here and I'm going to be fist pumping and then fucking just love this movie so fucking much. Not only is it my favorite, I think it's the best Halloween movie, as I've stated multiple times already. All film is subjective. I think Frank said in the chat earlier, best comeback of any slasher. absolutely agreed. But I'll use some hockey terms for some people. So last week, my Maple Leaf team was losing by 3-0 with 3 minutes to go. They came back and tied the game and won it in overtime. Almost never been done before in the NHL. Just to come out flat in the final deciding game and just throw it all away. Halloween 4 is like that amazing comeback for a horror franchise that was all but dead. Halloween 4 comes out in 1988, the year I was born, and just kicks fucking ass. And then they decide they have to rush out the sequel. Instead of giving the guys that made Halloween 4 time to do their own sequel, they brought in new people, and they rush out Halloween 5, and it's a fucking shit show, and they completely throw away all the brownie points, all the points that were earned by Halloween 4 for what would have been an incredible continuation. They throw it all away for the fucking, elephant shit fest that is Halloween 5.
They legit just took everything that was good about Halloween 4 and just did the exact opposite, and that's Halloween 5 for you.
I think the thing that gets me the most about this movie, dude, is the fact that when I was younger, Michael Myers in Halloween 4, even though the mask is nowhere close to being as good, scared the shit out of me. I legitimately had nightmares about Michael in Halloween 4. I was afraid to sleep in the dark for a while, and I don't know if
I can agree definitely that Michael Myers was still pretty fierce in Halloween 4. Yeah, I can agree with that.
No, I'm a Halloween 4 guy, which leaves us with not a whole lot of suspense for our number one film here. It garnered 4 first-place votes and 1 third-place vote. Coming in at number 1 for us, scoring a possible 48 of 50 points, is the original Halloween movie, John Carpenter's masterpiece from 1978. Wow. Number 1, 48 of 50 points. There's things about this movie that don't hold up to today, but boy, did they just get a whole lot right with this movie. The score is amazing. The lighting is amazing. The suspense is amazing. I love this movie, man. Now, I know you'd already seen the original Halloween before, but when you had a chance to sit down and watch it again, what do you think about it? I mean, you ran out and bought a fucking T-shirt of it, so you must have liked it. It must have made some sort of impact on you.
I mean, that was more just a stroke of luck, the fact that all Walmarts were, well, most were beginning to stock posters for the original film. Gotta tell you, I really got hyped watching it again. I really enjoyed the story. The film itself just stood out to me more than ever before as for its quality. This is definitely a film that I've, prior to recent events, have always revisited maybe once a year, maybe an off year here and there, just because I've always seen it as a horror masterpiece, pop culture icon, what have you. And now it's definitely got a special place for me among all of cinema. Halloween 5 changed the game for all of horror. It really did, in my opinion. It came in as my number 1. I couldn't have put it anywhere else. This is the trailblazing movie that gave us the franchise that we, and I do include me in that now, as I consider myself, the wannabe I am, a Halloween fan. This spawned the franchise. This is from which all of it flows.
I love this movie. I think at the end of the day, everyone draws back to this movie and loves what it represents. The birth of a genre, basically. I firmly believe when I say this. When we go to the flashback in Halloween Kills, from what I've had a chance to see, or more specifically read, and have been told about, those fans of the original movie for that, 10 or 15 minutes, whatever it ends up being, may even be 20 minutes when you consider how many pages of the script it takes up. Halloween 1978 plays a massive role in Halloween Kills. And those that are fans of the original are going to have nostalgia that they haven't felt since probably Halloween 2, 1981, but arguably even better than that. So again, drawing back to that first movie, I think fans for Kills that are waiting for Kills are going to love the flashback sequence in Halloween Kills, because it's going to take them back to Halloween 1978 in every possible way. And it deserves it. I mean, at the end of the day, it deserves to be number one. So there you have it. Let's go through the list again. Coming in at number 10, Rob Zombie's Halloween, scoring a possible 7 out of 50 points. Number 9 is Halloween Resurrection, scoring 12 out of a possible 50. 8 is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, scoring 21 of 50. 7 is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, also scoring 21 of 50. 6 is Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, no specific cut, scoring a possible 26 of 50 points. Coming in at the top 5, Halloween H2O, 20 Years Later, is number 5, scoring a possible 27 out of 50 points. Number 4 is Halloween 2, scoring a possible 36 of 50 points. Number 3 is Halloween 2018, a.k.a. Face Your Fate, David Gordon Green's Halloween. Number 3, scoring a possible 39 of 50 points. Number 2 is Halloween 4 with 40 of a possible 50 points. The Return of Michael Myers. And coming in number 1, first place, the original, the OG, the John Carpenter masterpiece from 1978, Halloween. John Carpenter's Halloween. Number 1, scoring a 48 of a possible 50 points. That is our top 10 for this evening. I honestly can't wait to do more of these. This is a lot of fun. The graphics weren't mind-blowing, but you have to have something that's workable while doing a live stream. We would have had more options if we were pre-producing a video, but we wanted to come in here and share our list with each and every one of you. Before we end, we're going to turn things over to the chat. If anybody else wants to get in a last super chat, now's the time to do it. If anybody else wants to get in any last chat questions, now's the time to do it. We'll get to your chat questions and final super chats in just a couple of minutes here. But before we do, Tommy B, let's talk about this Halloween Kills sneak peek that's coming out on Saturday. Let's talk specifically on what it is not.
It is not the whole movie streaming on YouTube.
No. It's not the whole movie streaming on YouTube. It's not a new trailer. So anybody who's expecting a new trailer, it is not it. That has been ruled out. It is not a full scene from the movie. I was told this morning. Quote, let me pull up my phone here. Make sure you and your audience don't get your expectations too out of hand for this Saturday. This is extremely minimalistic and quite possibly in areas already seen. Take into that what you will. I've replied and never got a reply. My guess is we're going to get a few stills, much like Frank said in the chat, possibly the teaser poster. Now, Halloween 2018 didn't have a teaser poster. Not really anyways. I know there was a Halloween image with a knife. But that was just a standard graphic. It's not going to be much, guys. You might see maybe a slightly extended version of the teaser we already got. Hell, I had one of our sources say to me, it might be the teaser we already got. Don't expect anything major. And for the love of God, it is not a release date change. Because when it is a release date change, if that were ever to happen, it's going to happen in the same way the delay happened. And not, oh, hey, let's do this random Brazilian, scary stream, horror movie stream with Blumhouse and announce it there. It's not happening. At the end of the day, don't expect much. Don't be waiting for it. I think it's around noon. I could be wrong on Saturday, Eastern. Expect very little and be pleased with what you get. And if you get nothing, remember, we told you it was quite possible you might get nothing new. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. I'll say this, though. Always leave room to be surprised. What we get's probably going to be very minimal, but it's something. Because we probably shouldn't be getting anything till this Halloween, and even then it shouldn't be anything major. Movie's still a long way off. And that's just the way it goes. All right, let's jump into the chat, Tommy, before we end this thing here. Solid Saturn, I'll be a senior in high school once Halloween Kills comes out. Ooh, a youngie. Awesome, Solid, awesome, good stuff. The simplicity of it is what makes it so impactful. That's from Frank. I'm assuming he's talking about 1978 Halloween. Tommy, would you agree that it's a very simple movie and because of it, it benefits from it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very... So, just real quick recap. Earlier today, I shared an image. I think it was about how 78 was chosen several, I think it might be over 10 years back, to be preserved in the Library of Congress. And I had an individual I'm acquainted with comment that, 78 is a masterpiece of a film, but he feels like it should have just ended there. Now, of course, as a relatively new Halloween fan, we could call Halloween fan whatever we want. As someone who's more invested in the franchise now, I will, of course, disagree with that any day of the week. However, I also understand the perspective that the common person might be coming from in just wanting to see a film. Oh, hey, here's Halloween. It's a masterpiece. It's nice. It's simple. Keeps our attention for, a 90-some minute runtime. And then it's over. And then you walk away from it. And like you said earlier, Sean, if they just never did a sequel, that would have been okay.
I do. I firmly believe it. The more sequels you make, the more watered down it gets. I think that's any franchise, to be honest. Spooky Guy says the movie changed the game. That's how I describe the movie. Spooky Guy, spot on. What do we have here? Frank Riker says my member berries are shaking. Toronto Freddy says still loving the ambiguous ending. Who doesn't? Anthony Stanfield. What's up?
We have to do it.
We have to do what?
Remember Michael Myers? I remember Michael Myers.
I have no idea what you just did.
You don't know what member berries are? Wow. It's South Park, buddy. South Park.
Oh, that probably explains it. Oh, shit.
Wow.
Subjective, of course. Anthony Stanfield, does the new 78 mask look exactly like the actual 78 mask? Well, unless you've cloned Nick Castle, man, and have Nick Castle playing the role again, I'm going to say there's going to be some slight variations, but from what we understand, it's the closest thing we've seen to the 78 mask ever on screen. So there's that. Spooky Guy says pretty close to his ranking. Sorry that he missed it. Frank Recker says got to be Stills. Joker says, I don't expect anything from the sneak peek. Good thing to expect. Frank says there's no reach around on Saturday. No, that's Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, Frank. Spooky Guy says he hopes it's something. Toronto Freddy says he's expecting nothing. Yeah, well, Anthony Stanfield says, Sean, please give us something on the 78 flashback mask, please. I don't have anything to give you, man. Like, photo-wise, we might have one or two stills that wasn't released to the general public, but it's nothing groundbreaking. You see a lot in what got out to the public already, man. I'll just say this about the 78 flashback in itself. The 78 flashback is better than some whole Halloween movies. That's how good the flashback is. Hello suspense, hello lighting, hello character-driven arcs. Without the 78 flashback, Halloween Kills is nothing because it literally builds the deck that the movie stands on. You have to have the 78 flashback in Kills for this to work. Flinter says, do you think Tenet will be released on the 26th? Looking more likely now. Yeah, man. I think Tenet's coming worldwide 26th, or internationally the 26th. And then I think it's the first week of September where we're going to get it. Posters are coming out. I can't wait to...
I think I heard today that AMC announced a release or in reopening information and that they were going to have Tenet. Does that sound familiar to you at all, Sean?
Some of it, again, like there's some areas theaters are open, some aren't. Tenet's going to come out, and like we said, I think Tenet's going to do a big number. That's what happens when you're the only player in town. Don't just assume because Tenet does a great number that every other movie would have done a great number. The more movies that start coming out at the same time, the tougher competition's going to be, and they're going to lose some dollars over that. Tenet will probably do really good. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that is the show for this evening. It was a lot of fun. We'll go over the list one more time quickly. Number 10, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Number 9, Halloween Resurrection. Number 8, Halloween 5. Number 7, Season of the Witch. Number 6, Halloween The Curse of Michael Myers. Number 5, Halloween H2O. Number 4, Halloween 2 from 1981. Number 3, Halloween 2018. Number 2, Halloween 4. In my opinion, the best return for a horror franchise. And number 1, John Carpenter's 1978 classic, Halloween. That's going to do it for our show this evening. Big thanks for tuning in, guys. Big thanks to everybody who sent in a super chat during this show. Appreciate the support. Thanks to everybody who just took time out of their Thursday night, to sit down and talk Halloween with us and do a top 10 video. We told you, we have lots of countdown videos coming. They won't just be Halloween or horror related either. It's a fun little interactive way to get going with your audience for sure. Check us out on Instagram, Fandom Empire Now, Camp Haddonfield Podcast, and Star Wars Renegades. Check us out on Twitter, Fandom Empire Now, and Star Wars Renegades. Tommy B, where can everybody find you at, man?
Catch me around our Facebook groups and pages, especially Fandom Empire Den, our group on Facebook. If you want to catch me on our platforms, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at TommyB1650.
Check us out exactly where I told you to. Twitter, Instagram, Fandom Empire Now. If you're a fan of our Star Wars material, we have episodes 7, 8, and 9 dropping tomorrow. The 9th one is a roundtable with the Rogue Sons of Star Wars podcast guys. We take a deep dive into Knights of the Old Republic, what it was like playing the game for the first time, and finally have a couple of competitors that aren't named Sean, Tommy, or Johnny playing in the Death Watch. Look out for those on Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Carrier Pigeon, and Phone Cup Telephone, which I hear still works from time to time. Again, Tommy, thanks for doing this. Big shout out to our mods in the chat. Frank Riker, Toronto Freddy. Big thank you. Toronto Freddy's saying it's Wednesday. It's not Wednesday, it's Thursday, is it not?
It is definitely Thursday.
Yeah, it's Thursday, Toronto Freddy.
He's trying to troll us.
It's Thursday, bro. Yes, it's actually Thursday, and I thought I was high when this stream started. Wow. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. This is Fandom Empire. We'll catch our Patreons of the Lampkin Lane level Sunday night for our monthly Lampkin Lane AMA, where we talk anything Halloween and get into some of the juicier tidbits of what's going on and what's coming in the franchise. Again, for Tommy B and for Toronto Freddy and Frank Riker in the chat, and Johnny, who sent in his list and cannot be here, I'm Sean. This was Fandom Empire Live episode 17, and we'll see you next time. Ciao.